Hi everyone, Eric Kaiser from ISTA here. Welcome to the ISTA PackSight webinar. A great response for this webinar today, so lots of people are kind of signing in, coming in, but we seem to be leveling off a little bit here. So we got a lot to cover today in a short amount of time, so let's get going. Again, I'm Eric from ISTA. Joining me today on the webinar is Adam and Katie from Specright. Adam and I will walk you through some of the foundational elements here at the beginning. Katie will take us through the live demo and then jump into some Q&A. And so I've shared briefly here what that agenda looks like. And again, the big thing for today is that live demo, and Katie will spend 10 to 15 minutes going through that. So we'll have a substantial chunk of today's conversation around showing you the tool, as well as we want to give a lot of time to answering questions that you might have about PackSight. A little bit of housekeeping on the element of Q&A. So there is a Q&A function within Zoom. You could please enter your questions into that Q&A section. That way, when we get to the end of the presentation, we can start at the top of that list and make our way through those questions, answering them in a first in, first out basis. So again, look for that Q&A function on the Zoom control bar and enter your questions as they come up so that we can answer them later in the webinar. So why did we embark on this journey of developing a new digital platform for test protocols? Well, if we look back, ISTA published its first test procedure, which was Project 1A in 1948. And since that time, we've seen great advances in technology and supply chains. And as a result, testing has become more sophisticated and complex. Unfortunately, though, the mechanism for delivering and interacting with those tests, such as static printed documents or PDFs distributed via mail or email, have remained largely unchanged over the same time frame. So with this in mind, it became clear that we needed to embrace technology to ease the complexity, enable faster packaging decisions. As we set out on this journey to transform package testing, we had to find a partner that understood our industry and understood technology. We have far-reaching goals at ISTA, so we wanted somebody who had mutual long-term goals. The Specright team had proven they could build a scalable and secure platform, and best of all, they knew packaging extremely well. So we formed a partnership to launch a package testing platform called PackSight. And as I said at the beginning, Adam from Specright is joining us on the call today, and I would ask Adam if you had any additional thoughts on this partnership that was formed between Specright and ISTA.
Definitely. I appreciate it, Eric. I think that, a lot of it is from our perspective at Specright, having customers that are in packaging and manufacturing and consumer goods. We're seeing that the changing retail and e-commerce landscape is especially demanding innovation from technology. And that's even amplified with the current pandemic. And we believe that ISTA can utilize technology, such as you've seen from partnering with Specright, to help everybody that's on the webinar better meet these changing demands. And just want to reemphasize the long-term goal aspect of this. We're very excited for Katie to show you the demo today and to talk about some of the benefits of PackSight. But there's even a lot more to come, and we do see this as a long-term partnership.
Excellent. So through this journey, we developed PackSight. And PackSight really can kind of be summarized in 3 key functions. First, to select the right test. So there's no more flipping pages or doing calculations, as PackSight will provide a package product specific test plan. The other key function area is that PackSight will enable you to easily collect and record testing data directly in PackSight. So this platform is mobile and tablet friendly and allow you to document the work as you do it, including taking pictures to help streamline your process. And once you're done, you can analyze those results and create reports faster than ever. And this is a key part in conversations we've had with labs, in that the traditional mechanism of writing reports took hours and was very manual. And so this platform can now enable you to do that part of your job even faster and more efficiently. Before we jump into the live demo portion of the webinar today, I did want to take a moment and acknowledge that while the tool is powerful in its current state and that it addresses foundational elements of testing needs, we are fully committed to growing the capabilities of this platform, as we view leveraging technology as a key mechanism to accomplishing our mission of reducing product damage and optimizing resource usage through effective packaging design. And Adam alluded to this, but really the near-term things we see on the horizon are continuous improvement by taking your input and making those enhancements to the tool. We also can see the future leveraging analytics so that you can get more from your testing and gain insights across your organization. Additionally, we could, as an ISTA community, look to offer up broad de-identified analytics and recommendations, as well as looking at user configurable test planning. So we need to provide tools that offer greater testing resolution at a company level and provide quicker access to newly developed test data sources. So for those edge cases and new needs, we need to enable users to configure their own test plans. So that just gives you a little flavor of where this tool is going. And the things that are going to be shown in the demo are, again, foundational elements that are addressing needs right now, but this tool, we look to be more than just a test planning and report writing element. So with that, Adam, anything else before we kick off the live demo?
I think that's perfect. I'm excited for Katie to jump into the demo.
All right.
All right, let's get into it then.
Thanks, Katie.
Let's see. Eric, I just need you to stop sharing and then I can get going.
Yep. It's all you.
Okay. All righty. Is the screen looking good?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so there's a couple of key points that I want to go through today. Of course, we're going to start a new test. We're also going to see a couple of the different outputs we can get from it. This is going to be pretty quick, so there's going to be some things that we don't cover. One thing I do want to point out before we get started is this training and support tab. If you click here, you come to our support page. We have PackSight News where you can get general updates and some helpful getting started videos. So you can hear my voice some more on some other videos. All right, so let's get started with the actual test. So from our home page here, in order to start a new test, you can click Start New Test. We're going to create a 3A elongated demo package today. So first you would click your test type, and we're going to click 3A here. For request your company name, so this is the company that you're doing a test for. If you're a lab, this is of course going to be your client. If you're a brand owner, then this is going to be your own company. Similarly, company performing tests, if this is just going to be your own company. There's lots of other information here. I'm going to kind of skip through some of that so we can get to the meat of the demo. So in each of our procedures, there's some different information, but information that you'll always need to fill out is the package dimensions and weight. So we're going to go ahead and do a elongated package today.
And I think one thing that I would add to that, Katie, too, is that PackSight will tell you that it's an elongated package. And I know that you're creating this to show an example, but I just didn't want people to make that assumption that you had to know it was elongated, because that is a benefit of using PackSight, is it will tell you those finer details within the protocol.
Excellent point. Yeah, so I'm gonna just fill out the package as I know it today, and PackSight's gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Again, this is a section I'll skip for now, but you can enter your damage tolerance and degradation allowance requirements here. So I'm gonna click save for now. And then PackSight's gonna give me this page here. If I scroll down, I can see how I need to label this package. You can see that it populated my package shape as elongated, gives me the information for how to label this package and the labeling diagram. And if I scroll down more, then I can see the actual test path. So again, behind the scenes, PackSight is looking at all of the inputs that you gave. You can see that I said that it's not liquid and it's not fragile. So I'm not getting that leak test here. Also, if you want, you can choose any optional test blocks. For 3A, 2, and 8 go together, but I'm gonna not click any of those. So I'm going to save that for now and then click Generate Test Plan. So this is our first landing page, so we call this the short test plan. It's really a quick view of the entire procedure. So we have all of our different blocks here. We have preconditioning, our shock, vibration, and everything. Now, one thing I want to point out, we have this print test plan button up at the top here. If you don't have, computers allowed on the floor of your testing facility, one thing you can do to still utilize the powerful feature of PackSight in giving you your test path exactly as it should be, and calculating many of the weights and drop heights, etc. You can click Print Test Plan here, and you'll actually get a printout version of your test path. So this is something that you would be able to print out and bring into the lab with you. So it has all of your drop heights. You can say whether everything's complete, give any notes, etc. So this is something that could guide you through a test as you're going through if you can't have a mobile device on your lab floor. So going through here, this is a really quick way to input information. So if I wanted to do preconditioning, then I could click, start and finish as I'm going through. If you're going through and backfilling this information, you can actually just change the date and time here. So I can change it to yesterday. Maybe I started at 9 a.m. So you can change that information here. And you can go through and input all of the information, add notes as you go, say, all of this is complete, etc. But if you actually want to log more details and understand a little bit more about the test, if maybe you haven't completed it before and want a little bit more information on, what a drop looks like, then we can head over to our step-by-step procedure instead. So I'm not going to save this. I'm just going to head straight over to the step-by-step. And here you see a different view. So each of our test blocks is actually on its own tab now. And we have a more detailed view of our block. So we have a little bit of background information. We also have this equipment section where you can search for equipment. If you're not in full screen mode, then it'll be a nice little pop-up in window. So I could choose any equipment here. I don't have an equipment logged yet for atmospheric chamber, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. I could go back and create one if I wanted. So again, here you can start finish, and at the bottom is where you can actually add any attachments. So I could, let's see here, go choose file, and add any images that I would like. So I could choose this image here, a nice sunset. Of course, it'll be boxes for everyone here, but then you can go ahead and save this, and then you will have that attachment saved. And so this attachment will now be automatically included in our post-test report. Moving forward, you can continue to go through all of the different blocks. Again, you'll get more information. You'll be able to input more details. Here on this drop sequence, we have a lot of different fields. You can track secondary impact, whether you completed each individual drop, and then add files for each individual drop as well. And again, all of these images will be pulled into your final report. So I'm going to skip ahead to the final report here, or to the final post-testing page. So this is where you can enter the post-test information about everything that you just did. So you have your start date, your finish date, your basis weight if you're testing corrugated, and then we also have our package status, and this is actually a link to a specific package, so you can actually do multiple packages if you want, or test one package multiple times. And you can also say whether your package passed or failed. And we are actually comparing this here to all of the different, I'm just gonna hop on back over to the last one here. Down here in this section, we have the product damage tolerance and degradation allowance status. So these are always pass, fail, or TBD. And this will help you if you know immediately after a test is done that it failed. You could click, okay, our product failed here. And I'm going to click save. And then it's going to, if I say pass here, then it's going to give you this total. Since it failed somewhere along your test, you're not going to be able to have it pass on your final page. So that's one of the many validations that we have. You'll see those pop up here and there. So that's for the package. You can also do comments and recommendations. So if you're lab testing for a brand, you can note here, whether if they're in B flute now, and you think that they should go to C flute in order to protect from further damage, then this is a great place to note that. Then we have our product here, so you can actually note the product that you're testing and give some information about that as well. And then, of course, track whether your product passed or failed. Then you can mark the entire test as complete and add post-testing photos. So these will show up in your test report in the post-testing section, which is actually at the beginning of our reports, as we see that people want to see the results of the test, and then they can dive into the individual blocks that went along. So I already created a test earlier today so that I could show you a full report. So I'm going to click save. If you wanted to get a report, you could click print report here, and it'll spit out something like this.
Yeah, hey Katie, I'll jump in here. We do seem to have
Sure.
some bandwidth limitations at play and a little bit of poor communication or poor connection with you. So I think I'll help out here and highlight some of the features that we're seeing in this. But PackSight certainly is trying to drive greater consistency through the testing. So you saw some of those default scenarios that Katie highlighted of making sure that you're documenting the tests correctly along the way, and that you aren't inadvertently saying something that is reflected differently in a different portion of the test. In addition, you'll notice at the onset there are only a few required fields to create that test plan. So we wanted to have the tool be functional for many different folks and for many different reasons. So we didn't want to have a huge barrier to entry. So package weight and dimensions are, as well as if it's a fragile or liquid, are the only required inputs at the onset. So you can get that full test plan for your particular package product without needing to input tons of data, so that you can get to the testing quicker. And you saw too that there's two different layouts that you can choose from. Katie showed the brief overview version, so that gives key details for those that are more familiar with the test protocol itself, and allow you to quickly execute that test and document it without seeing a lot of the extra stuff that you already know. You know what the input is for an over-the-road vibration profile. Conversely, if someone needs those reminders and those prompts on how to set up for a bridged impact, or what the vibration profiles are themselves, they can see that in that step-by-step section. And so again, we're trying to drive consistency, but also realize that people interact with protocols in a lot of different ways, and so we're trying to cover off on multiple facets here. Katie, let's see if the connection has improved at all.
Okay, feel free to pipe in if it hasn't. I sent you
Sounds
this earlier
good.
today, so you can feel free to share it. Anyway, so this is an example of our post-test report. So we have a lot of the information that you input up front, talking about the date and who is testing and who for. Then we have our post-testing information first, so you can see the results of your test without having to scroll too far. You can see that, we have a pass for our package, and then you can see our attachments that I put in the post-testing page. So these will pop up on this first testing page here. So scrolling down, then we get into some of our testing criteria and package information. You can see the orientation, the labeling diagram, showing what you followed. And then we get into each of the test blocks. So if I had observations logged, then those would pop up here. And then you get the results of all of the individual items that you are inputting, all of the data that you've input along the way. So then we have a shock here. You can see that all of your, each of your drops has an attachment attached. And scroll through. And similarly, as you keep going, each of the blocks will have all of its own data and its own images. Some look a little bit different because, as we know, to see the vibration profile, we'll need a little bit larger of a picture. So we tried to make those a bit more accessible. A lot of the rest of the report is more of the same. So I don't want to take too much time just scrolling through this, because I know that we have quite a few questions coming in. So Eric, unless you have anything else you'd like to add, then maybe we can hop over to the next part of our presentation.
Yeah, Katie, let's do a quick recap here with Adam and I, and then we get into the questions, because I think you showed us the lay of the land. Obviously, there's a lot of functionality that we can't get into with PackSight right now, and kind of a spoiler alert, we'll be doing additional webinars to help dive into some of those additional features at a later date. But right now, we wanted to just give you an overview of what it looks like in there, and how the key functions of PackSight work. So if you could hand back over the controls, sure, Adam and I can finish up.
Yeah, and I'll answer a few of the kind of software-based questions real quick as Eric pulls that up. There was one question on if PackSight can be used on a mobile device. The answer is yes. It can be used on phones and tablets. There was another question about if the software had been validated. Specright is SOC 2 compliant and has done software validation. We can follow up if needed on PackSight specifically. Also seeing a lot of questions on Amazon testing and SICK SIOC. Eric can get into that in more detail, but the short answer is that the 6 SIOC tests, the Amazon tests are in there, and Amazon is very aware of the PackSight tool.
Yeah, excellent point, Adam, on the Amazon component of it. In addition to a lot of things that we'll talk about here with the screen of benefit of testing, we have heard the pain points of utilizing the Amazon SIOC and Overbox test report forms, and this tool is geared right towards helping with that pain point of knowing what items need to be input in there, what pictures need to be included, how many samples you need to do, those sort of things, as well as just making that creation of the PDF much more easy, and getting all the files to be the right size and all that fun stuff. So again, we're going to do some additional webinars coming up that are going to dive into a lot of specific functionality as well as specific use cases, and the Amazon one is on our list to do, so stay tuned for that. Adam, you want to talk at all about the benefits of testing here real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think it
or
is.
They probably read it by now. We may.
Yeah, I think you can flip forward.
Move to the Q&A. I'll leave this up here for a second, but in short, right, we know that everybody interacts with the protocols and testing differently, and so we want to give some perspective of how this could be applicable to you and yours and labs. We're certainly knowing that test planning and report generation is a key thing to gain efficiencies in your lab, but also this could be used as a workflow management tool. So one lab tech can pick up where another left off a day before, because you can clearly see those timestamps and where people are in the process, which is great. And that visibility benefit applies to other segments as well. So for a supplier, you can see what designs have been tested throughout your organization, and avoid kind of redundant work, which is a huge deal there. And for brands, we receive a call a lot asking, hey, do you have our old tests? Can you send me my old tests? Somebody's moved on, so forth and so on. So the visibility across your global team, with PackSight having a cloud-based repository, is a huge benefit of PackSight and the need that it's trying to fill there. So again, those were just some high-level overviews on how to kind of interpret the benefit to you of PackSight. Getting started with PackSight involves ISTA lab members have included in their membership dues 1 seat license to PackSight, so you can get in there right now and get going on it. If you need that seat license changed to someone else, you can make that request through the support tool. For ISTA members who are not lab members or who do not have a certified lab, you can gain access by purchasing a seat license for PackSight. And lastly, for those who aren't currently an ISTA member, this is a benefit to membership. And so if you're looking to gain access into PackSight, the first step would become an ISTA member. Adam and Katie, I'll just keep on this since we're running low on time here, but support's out there and we can help you along the way. As far as Q&A, we are at time. What we can do to help everyone out is to compile answers to this and send out the answers via an email and follow up with everyone. Adam hit a lot on the software-based tools or software-based answers. Anything else that you or Katie would like to add?
I think that is great. We will certainly follow up with some more information, and I would encourage everybody to join the future webinars as well. We will be using your questions and feedback for improving the tool too. So we look forward to receiving that. Thank you all for attending.
Absolutely. And just one quick note, there were quite a few questions about whether whether you can take photos directly from your phone or mobile device. If you are conducting a test from your mobile device, you can click the choose image photo or choose image button, and it'll actually bring you directly to your camera if you want to take a photo. So that's that. But thank you all so much for coming in today, and we will be in touch with answers to more of these questions.
Yeah, it was a big undertaking to make this, try to get all this new information out to you in a short time, but we certainly respect that there's a lot of stuff going on and you need to keep on with your day. So this was hopefully insightful, and reach out with any additional questions that you may have. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.